The security forces capture a terrorist hideout full of various weapons in Al-Amara quarter in Damascus. The Iranian chief of staff says that all the calculations of America and the West concerning Syria have failed. Al-Saud regime imprisoned 7 young men between 5 and 10 years, preventing them from travel and accusing them of calling for demonstrations through this Facebook. Good afternoon, welcome to our news bulletin. I'm Dania Nizam. Iranian Foreign Minister Ali Akbar Salehi stressed the necessity of preserving the national sovereignty and territorial integrity of Syria to move towards the Syrian political dialogue. Salehi, who is visiting Qatar heading a political delegation, explained the Iranian policy towards Syria and the importance of consolidating security and stability in the Gulf region, stressing the necessity of upgrading regional cooperation. The spokesman of the Iranian Foreign Ministry, Mr. Abbas Arakchi, announced that the Iranian President Najad would begin a 2-day visit to Russia tomorrow in order to take part in the summit of the gas-exporting countries. He would meet the Russian President Putin to discuss with him several issues in the region, including the situation in Syria and developments in Central Asia, Caucasia and the Caspian Sea. Brigadier Hassan Fayrouz Abbadi, the Iranian Chief of Staff, asserted that all the calculations of America and the West concerning Syria have failed and that resistance in this region has achieved victory. He criticized the conduct of some states that support terrorists in Syria with weapons. He also warned the West that the balance of power on the ground would never change by the flow of arms to the terrorist organizations of Al-Qaeda and its allies in Syria. He added that the West and the Zionists have lost the initiative because sending weapons to the terrorists is no longer useful or helpful to the implementation of their plots. He pointed out that the weapons sent by air from some Gulf countries to Turkey will not stop Al-Qaeda, whose terrorism would eventually reach the White House, the Elysee Palace and other places. An official source in Aleppo governorate said that the armed terrorist gangs targeted a helicopter over Nouvelles city. On the helicopter's board were employees from the Ministry of Education, the exams papers for the preparatory school certificate for the students of the two cities of Nouvelles and Al-Zahra, who could not do their exams on the due time. The crash led to the martyrdom of 7 civilians and the helicopter's crew. Three citizens were killed and 6 others were wounded as a result of a missile fired by a terrorist on Al-Abbasiyya quarter in Homs. A medical source told Sana that the wounded people were taken to the civil hospital in the city to receive treatment. Units of the Syrian Army destroyed the weapons and ammunition of terrorists in Al-Khalidiyya quarter, where the army achieved considerable advance, killing and wounding many terrorists in various quarters, particularly near the school of Khadija. In the Ezzor countryside, fighting erupted between 2 terrorist gangs over differences to divide things which they stole from citizens and service departments in El Mayadeen. An official source said that the fighting took place in a hideout near the Palace of Justice in the city, leading to the death and the wounding of dozens of terrorists who used machine guns and various bombs that destroyed their hideout with its weapons and ammunition. In the Daraa countryside, fighting erupted between 2 terrorist gangs who differed over the division of things they stole from public and private property in the town of Al-Msefra. This led to the fall of many casualties among the terrorists. A military source said the fighting led to the death of 20 terrorists, the wounding of dozens, and caused material damage in the property of citizens in the town. Units of the Syrian Army destroyed several terrorist hideouts in various areas in the Idlib countryside, killing and wounding many of them. Their weapons and ammunition were also destroyed. Units of the army also clashed with a terrorist gang in the village of El-Buaiti, killing and wounding most of them and destroying their heavy machine guns. Our armed forces continued their operations of search in the village of Omjre and storming a terrorist hideout, killing and wounding the terrorists' hideouts there and destroying 2 heavy machine guns and large quantities of ammunition. In Idlib, security forces arrested the terrorist Nasr Hudayhid from Ma'arat al-Nu'man countryside, who was practicing arms trade in coordination with the leaders of the armed terrorist groups in Idlib countryside. Nasr Hudayhid admitted that more than one person convinced him of selling the arms that would reach him through several traffickers in the area. So he sold machine guns, PKCs, RPG launchers, mortar shells and various kinds of ammunition. Hudayhid added that when he felt that he gained less than the traffickers, he headed to Turkey, where he contacted several terrorists, including one named Hazem al-Arur, who was working as a cover in what is so-called a relief office. After a process of search and inspection, the security forces captured a hideout of a terrorist gang in Al-Amara quarter in Damascus. The hideout contained RPGs made in Europe, a sniper gun with sophisticated binoculars, Russian automatic guns, hand grenades, batteries attached to explosive devices, and large quantities of ammunition and photographic cameras. The British daily, The Independent, published an article by Patrick Cockburn asserting that the foreign mass media coverage of the crisis in Syria is dangerously misleading. He added that every time he went to Syria, he was shocked to see how different the situation on the ground was from the way it is portrayed to the outside world in the mass media. He added that the foreign mass media did not seek accuracy in reporting the news of the crisis in Syria. Their reports were all misleading, like everything since the First World War. The writer concluded that as a result of such misleading reports, the politicians, the unofficial papers, and the TV viewers do not have any clear ideas about events in Syria. As part of the policies of al-Saud's rulers that aim to silence the voices calling for political reforms in the country, a Saudi court sentenced 7 young men to prison terms of between 5 to 10 years with a travel ban on charges of inciting demonstrations by using the Facebook, so they've become, according to the court, disobedient to the ruler. Special sources said that the criminal court, which is specialized in the issues of terrorism, convicted the 7 young men who were detained in September 2011 and had been imprisoned for a year and a half in El-Dammam before facing them with charges. That was it for our news bulletin for today. For more details, you can visit our website, syriaonline.sy. Thank you, and God bless you, and long live Syria.